Donald Trump is still in the middle of a trade war with China, and it's important for him to have advisors who are well-informed on the issue of trade, well-informed on the issue of China. But unfortunately, the person who's advising him, his economic advisor, is a man by the name of Peter Navarro. And turns out that Peter Navarro has a history of making up sources for his books. How do we know this? Well, there is a emeritus professor, so Teresa Morris Suzuki is her name, and she is an emeritus professor of Japanese and Korean history at the Australian National University, and she's been working on an essay examining the heated language Navarro uses when he's talking about China. He uses yellow peril at the turn of the 20th century. It's similar to the yellow peril or the rhetoric used during yellow peril in the turn of the 20th century. So in her research, she goes through his books and she realizes that there's this weird source that keeps coming up, right? A man by the name of Ron Vara. And understand that Ron Vara is being cited as a person of authority, an expert on the topic, right? And so Navarro has quoted Vara a dozen times or so in 6 books, usually as an epigraph before a chapter, okay? Now this is according to Tom Bartlett from the Chronicle Review. In Death by China, published in 2011, Vara offers this sweeping assessment of the country's roughly 1.4 billion people. Only the Chinese can turn a leather sofa into an acid bath, a baby crib into a lethal weapon, and a cell phone battery into heart-piercing shrapnel. So
that's why the expert that Anna was quoting earlier said it reminds her of the yellow peril, because it seems over the top, insulting and offensive to Chinese people, not based necessarily on trade practices, but based on only the Chinese can do this. It makes it seem like it's related to their race and et cetera. So now that was the tip off to like, that's strange.
Yeah.
And right now you're thinking there's something about that name that seems a little off. Because I thought that too. I'm like, Ron Vara, that seems vaguely familiar. Wait till you hear the rest of the story.
So the book Death by China was co-authored, and the co-author is Greg Autry. And so the researcher reaches out to this person to try to figure out what's going on. And here was the quote. "You're not gonna find Ron Vara," Autry said. He described Vara as one of a number of Easter eggs in the book meant to lighten the tone.
I like that how they think racism lightens the tone. That's a side note here. But what do you mean that you wrote what is supposed to be a serious economic book and you put in Easter eggs, like surprises that lightened the tone, but you didn't tell anyone that they were Easter eggs. You didn't tell anyone it wasn't true, so how would it lighten the tone?
Yeah, let me give you more. And this is also very revealing when it comes to Navarro. Those who know Navarro well were fully aware that Ron Vara was a phony source who often popped up in his books. He said Vara was Navarro's alter ego, an everyman character who dispenses cutesy business aphorisms as well as dire warnings about Chinese food.
These guys are all mental. He is a top trade advisor to Donald Trump and the United States government on the issue of China. He wrote books about China where he made up characters that don't exist and never told anyone they don't exist. Okay, you guys ready for this? Ron Vara. Wait, the guy's last name is Navarro. Oh, right, those are the letters in Navarro. Oh, what a clown.
He's a bad guy. I mean, so one of the quotes by this like made up figure, this alter ego, said, "You gotta be nuts to eat Chinese food." But why?
Yeah, what is?
But
they're
why?
all lunatics. The lunatics have taken over the asylum. So let's get to the confession. He finally sent a statement in saying that Ron Vara was, quote, "a whimsical device and pen name I've used throughout the years for opinions and purely entertainment value, not as a source of fact." But you never said it wasn't a fact.
Exactly.
You never said it was whimsical. You never said it was to lighten the tone. You made it sound like he was an actual economist.
And you used him dozens of times. Like you used him at least a dozen times across several of your books. Like it's not like he wrote. First of all, this would be bad by itself. Like if he had written an economic article and he quoted a fake source, right? But no, it's several of your books. This is crazy. And you are an economic advisor. You're the economic advisor to Donald Trump at a time. By the way, like let's get serious for a second. Like farmers are taking their own lives right now because they're going bankrupt as a result of the trade war. There's a story that we didn't get to earlier this week about a farmer in Ohio who had voted for Trump. He lives in a district that voted overwhelmingly for Trump. He was an avid Trump supporter, but the trade war has destroyed farmers in the area. And he's like, look, I wouldn't vote for Trump if he walked on water. People are really suffering, and it's because you have clowns running the show. It's crazy.
Yeah, so I was trying to think of how I would do my name. Sorry, to lighten the tone, if you will. Uygur says, if you scramble the letters in my name. And if I put that in a real book, like chief economist Uygur says that the Chinese will put shrapnel in your heart.
Sounds as bad as Scrum does.
I know, right? Worst like combination of letters from a name ever. Anyway, but remember, Donald Trump also used fake names when he called the press. He used John Miller and John Barron, and he would not only call to brag and make up how much money he has and how successful he is, but he would often call reporters to tell them how successful he was in sex. So he'd call as John Miller or John Barron and he'd be like, hello, this is not Donald Trump, it is John Barron. He later named his son Barron. Oh my God, they're so embarrassing. Okay, this is John Barron, and I'm here to tell you Donald Trump is very strong in bed, very strong.
Disgusting.
And so that idiot, of course, hired this idiot. And so you shouldn't be surprised. But guys, to Anna's point, the whole world economy hinges on the deal we make or don't make with China. And Peter Navarro, or should I say Ron Vera, is now in charge. And so he's telling Donald Trump, oh no, we can't make a deal, man. Have you ever tasted Chinese food? You can't make a deal, right? So when I see the lunatics have taken over the asylum, it's pretty literal. It's the White House has now become an asylum, and there's all these monsters and idiots and lunatics running around like Stephen Miller. Oh, everybody was mean to me in Santa Monica. I'm gonna take it out on the immigrants. And he had Bannon like drooling all over the place, and now he's out. And you got Trump, who's just absolutely lost his mind, and guys like this, they're all walking around affecting the entire global economy and yes, people's lives. This is why, among the 1,000 different reasons why we gotta get them out.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.